We're live. I think I got it right this time. I forgot to set the vertical feed. You got to go in live stream. If you want to go vertical, you got to. And then once you go live, you can't make changes. So anyway, I thought we'd hang out here for a little bit today. I'm getting my day started. I'm gonna tear in that 212 today. I'm just gonna tear it down, tear the crankshaft out. Go ahead and pull the cam, pull the governor out. Kind of clean it up. We got a little mini bike project we're doing. And we pulled this little 212 Predator motor off. We're going to tear it down and modify it, put a new camshaft and a new carburetor and stuff on it. Welcome to the live. If you're here, Craft Organics, good morning, buddy. How you doing? Yeah, I just figured I'd get my day. It's getting to be a ritual now to just come do a live first thing in the morning. Hang out with you guys, shoot the bull. Actually, our lives are doing really good. We get quite a few people in here, which I looked at the live content though that they offer. How's the audio and the video? Okay. I did a little research on what's available. Man, the lives there's not much to watch on YouTube on the lives. It's pretty you're a big fish in a little pond, I think. There's not a lot going on the lives. But we're gonna start doing some cool stuff. Today I'm gonna do my alone time before I take my daughter to school. Yeah. What time is it your time? Where are you at right now? It's 4:44 at my house. Already got up, made breakfast for my girl, made her coffee, got her on her way. I think I slept 4 hours. I was trying to figure out, I'm going to try to launch another video possibly today about tools. Our video started to tank and then it's taken off again. So I think I'm going to make a secondary video to follow it up. Maybe we'll do pretty good. 6:44, yeah. Before you take your daughter to school. Now she's 3, right? She in preschool? They've got really bad. What's up, maggot? Looking forward to see your Predator build. Yeah, so I'm gonna tear it down tonight. I've never had one apart, man, but I'm not afraid. I've done a lot of mechanical stuff, so I'm just gonna tear it down, pull the head off, and take the governor out. Take the head, slide the camshaft out, and then I'm going to try not to spend more than like $250 and see if we can build like a budget-friendly, little 212. I know I could pump it up, but I'm trying to build this so maybe somebody watching could afford to do it, not have to spend $1,000. We'll get a updated flywheel for it. I don't think I'm going to get a billet. I'm just going to get a heavier duty, like a metal one that's thicker and more heavier duty than the stock one. And then I'm going to put a clear see-through valve cover on it so you can see the valves in there. And it's already got a pretty good carburetor and exhaust on it. So I think most of my money is going to go into an updated piston with a flat top and then a nice little camshaft. And probably reuse the crank as long as it's in good shape. I'm just going to plastic gauge the crank and see where it's at. Hey, bro. What's up, brother? Just throwing a rod. They can perform pretty good stock. Yeah. So I'm going to get an updated rod and piston, a flat top rod, a flat top piston and a rod, and then a camshaft, and then maybe a updated case cover and a flywheel. Hopefully we don't have to spend $500. I'm thinking we could do this budget friendly for like $200-300. I'm going to put it in a mini bike. So I got to replace this one. I think I'm just going to go down and get one of those cheap little $139 ones from Harbor Freight to put in the mini bike, because it's just going to be for a 10-year-old kid, his first mini bike. But I'm going to do a bunch of mods on the frame and stuff, make it look cool. I'm going to paint the fenders and put some flame on them. I'm just going to hand draw the flame out. I'm going to try to make it look like an old Harley. It looks pretty cool. It's got a really wide like fork on it, like it has like a triple tree on it. So I'm gonna try to do that. The racing aluminum one is $59. Oh, really? For the flywheel? Well, shoot, I'll just do that. If it's only $60, hone it. Yeah, I'm gonna hone it while I got it out. I'm just gonna hit it with a hone. I gotta probably buy a spring compressor though. They got a really nice spring compressor for those. It's plastic. It's kind of a hard plastic instead of the spring type, and it's tapered. So you just put the piston in there and you work it in. You just tap it in. And it just brings the springs. It makes it real easy to install. Yeah, I'm gonna get that tool, and then we'll see. I don't know. We'll probably have to upgrade the springs though. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to do that because I think everywhere I read they say run 18-pound spring in them. So we'll probably have to. We may have to take the hole for the valve guide. We'll probably have to trim the top where the spring sits. So I'm not sure. I'm just wondering what the factory. I think if I leave the factory springs, then they'll get too compressed. They'll float because I'm going to put like a high lift cam in it. See what we can do. You know, if nothing else, it's easy enough to pop that valve cover off and do, you know, put a set of rockers in there or something. The rockers, you can even get more lift. They say the non-Hemi ones are the way to go. They don't have the clearance problems. They say the Hemi ones are a little harder to build up because you got to go in there and do some shaving on the block to keep stuff from hitting. And then there are certain things you can't do with the Hemi. So they say the non-Hemi is the way to go. And this one is a non-Hemi. I got lucky on that end. It's gonna be a fun little project. You'll get valve flow. Yeah, that's what I thought. And I got a buddy that has a machine shop, so I might just take it down to him and say, hey, fix this. I'm going to put these springs in there. He'll probably do it for me for a 6-pack of beer or something. I don't know. He's pretty cool. They hear me. It's a restricted. So is your daughter, she going to regular school? She just doing preschool, right? We used to run a preschool, me and my wife. We had a preschool for like 10 years. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I heard. So I did a little research on it. So I'm thinking maybe this is the way to go, that non-Hemi. I guess you got to kind of, when you buy the ones at Harbor Freight too, you just kind of never know what you're getting. Sometimes they're Hemi and sometimes they're not. You got to like open the box and look. So I don't know. I think I'd like to take one of these to the next level maybe. Like I said, I got a buddy that's a machinist. He's been doing machine work for 30, 40 years. I'm tempted to take this thing to him and say, man, what can we do to make this thing pump, like way pumped? I mean, higher than everybody else is doing. Take it to the point of destruction. You know, second grade, 8 years. Oh, for some reason, I was thinking she was 3. Yeah. You going to Bonneville? When are you going to Bonneville? Oh, am I going to Bonneville? I should. That'd be fun, huh? Build a little drag bike. Little mini bike drag bike. It's not Hemi. You can get the Ghost 212. I've seen those. What's so special about them? I'd like to build it though. That's what I'm thinking. Comes with the racing carburetor and exhaust. Oh, okay. This one's got an updated exhaust and carburetor already on it. So, but yeah, that's something to think about. If you're going to build one, you might as well get the Ghost. It means you get the carburetor and the exhaust already on there. It's pretty cheap to work on them. I'm pretty amazed how cheap they are to work on, which is nice. The world record for that class. My big old fat butt. I don't know, man. I'll probably get the fattest rider, slowest time for the fattest rider. Oh. That looked funny, huh? My luck, I'd get hurt for my first time on a mini bike. 22 millimeter round slide. Is that the carburetor? 22 millimeter round slide? It's Glitch. Hey, Glitch. Welcome to live. We're just sitting here shooting the bull this morning. I got a little 212 project. I'm gonna probably do the live. I'm gonna do a live maybe on the 212. See if we get some people in here. Yeah. So you just never know on the live. Sometimes you get a lot of people, and sometimes we don't get many. Which I don't really care. I mean, it benefits me if we get more traction, but because I get to try to push products if I can. Hey, did you guys see this link I put up there for those lights? So I was looking at those lights. So we get a killer deal on them because we're like an affiliate with them. So we get a good price on them. And then, so when you go to Amazon, the prices are really good. Yeah, but I was looking at them and I bought 4 modules for $46, but they don't come with any kind of wiring. They just the modules, pair of wires out the back. And then they got a 2 module set you can get for $31. That's the one I got up there. I think they're 31, 35, somewhere like that. But when you get the 2 module ones, it comes with a nice harness with the switch and all that. So that's not a big deal to me because I do wiring. But if somebody's going to buy a set, I think if I was going to get 4, I'd buy 2 of these because then you get 2 harnesses and you get everything you need, and you don't have to figure out the switch and all that. So, man, I lit them up last night, all 4 here on the bench. You can't look at them. You can't look directly at them without squinting your eyes. They're super bright, man. Super bright. I thought about doing I'm a little leery about doing product reviews and launching a video on the channel because then it kind of makes you look like all you're doing is like doing product review, and I don't want that. The channel, the video that we launched, they have a mount that they pay you a CPU. You know, I can share. Hey, check this out, guys. I can share my screen now. Watch this. I'll just show you so you can see it. Share screen. I'll show you my analytics. I'm learning all these little things about, so check that out. So what I can do, I can switch back and forth to, and I can share my screen. That's pretty cool, huh? So when we're talking about stuff, I can bring it up. Then I can go back to here. So when we're doing stuff now, so change the front sprocket on our race bikes. Yeah. Yeah, you can change the gearing that way. It depends on what you want. If you want more speed, you make the bigger, get a bigger sprocket. In the front, yeah, you get a bigger, smaller if you want to go fast or more torque. Bud Light is best penetrating for fog. I would think yellow works a little better, I think, for a fog light. The white lights seem to reflect off the fog back at you. But these are like overhead, like 4-wheel drive lights you put on like a 4-wheel drive for like driving at night. They're like a LED, like a light bar. I've been in lighting. I've done emergency lighting for 20 plus years. Yeah, yellow I think is better for fog. I've been in emergency lighting for over 20 years. I set up police cars, and I've used all kinds of products like sound off, what's the other one? Wheel-in, a lot of different types of lighting. And so I bought these because I was like, well, let's see what they're like. They're probably junk. So I just ordered them to look at them. I was impressed by them. They're all aluminum housed. They're sealed really good. They have a really nice adjustment on them. So the mount, you can rotate them like this. So if you want to rotate them down or up. And they got all stainless steel hardware. And then they're finned on the back, a really nice cooling fin set up on the back of them. So I was impressed by them. For the money, they're dirt cheap. They're cheaper than going to like Harbor Freight and buying like a little LED. And they're fully aluminum housed. And they got like they got a flood and a spot. So the flood LEDs are kind of angled like that, and then it has a spot in the center, so you get spot penetration, and then you get a little bit of a flood out like that. Pretty good light. I'm gonna buy another set. I like them so good. Bringing high pressure sodium with the old high pressure sodium seemed to light in the fog better. Yeah, because the problem with LED, what we found is there's no residual outside the beam. So like we got some spotlights, you know how the cops use the spotlights? We bought some LED spotlights, and you know how you look on like on Hollywood and that big old light moves and anything outside that circle you can't see? That's the way these were. So they'd be chasing people in the dark running, and once they moved outside the light, they couldn't find them. So because they were used to those halogen that had more of a dispersed light, a light in the center and some residual on the outside. So we had to switch those to a flood style. And what they do is they just take the LED and they put some reflectors that reflect the light out more instead of direct. And that's what these have done. So the front ones are direct. They're like straight out. And then they got two rows going, one up and one down. So you get that real nice pattern, you know, for lighting at night. Like I said, man, they're dirt cheap. For $35, you get 2 modules and the harness. So if you had a little like a little 4x4 side by side or a little ATV or something, man, they'd be great for that. I'm gonna put 2 on that little mini bike project. I figure for $10 a piece, I only paid $45 for 4 of them. I figure for what, $12 a piece, I'm gonna put two of them sideways like a headlight. It's gonna like look like an aircraft carrier coming at you, man. These things are blow your eyeballs out. I tried to look in them last night when I had them going. I couldn't look into them. It's like looking in the surface of the sun, man. They really light up. It's amazing what the LEDs have done to the markets now. So like when I set up police cars, we used to have to run pretty heavy wiring. Now, man, we can run such small wires to all the lighting. Like I get these little controllers. They're made by a company. What's the name of them? Phoenix. And you can, man, good quality controller. You can even buy them. You don't have to be a cop or nothing to get them, but they're about this big, and you can, they're programmable for your lighting. Really nice. And they'll do like, they'll do 10 amps. But shoot, when you run LED lights, I've checked those LED lights, like a full module, they only put out like a 1/4 amp. This is clearly AI. You can't fool me, big tech. Really? Does AI do this? Can AI do that? I use Rock Auto a lot. They are so much price point, I guess, because no middleman. Yeah, I've used Rock Auto. Some of their stuff is kind of low quality. It depends on what you're doing. But I bought some parts that, like I bought a radiator for the Comet from Rock Auto. Can't grow. And no, man, the price is unbeatable. I bought the radiator for the Comet, and it was a nice radiator, and it was bargain, man. It was like $150 or something. It was cheap. Start putting power, you can't run them in series. Yeah, probably not. You can tie them all together though. Just tie all the powers together and then tie all the grounds together. That's what I did on these. They work fine. The other thing with LEDs, you got to remember they're polarity sensitive. If you ever get one you can't get to come on, you got the polarity wrong. First time I messed with one, I did that. I couldn't get it. It was a brand new module, and I hooked it up, and it wouldn't come on. And I get my test light, and I got power. I check it. It's got a ground. The light won't come on, so I go get another module, hook it up. Got the same problem. I'm like, what the heck's going on here? And sure enough, the LEDs are polarity sensitive. There's a positive and a negative on the light. On a regular light bulb, it doesn't care. It doesn't matter as long as you have power and ground. But on an LED, you got to have the power and the ground going in the right directions. Yeah, Craft Organics. You can, like I said, you can run them in all together. Run them parallel, which is kind of better anyway. Because I don't like series much, because if you get a break in line, you lose everything all the way down. So actually, you're better off to run them in parallel. What I liked about these is the modules, because they're 7 inches and you get 4. So if you want to run 2, let's say you want to do front and rear lighting, you get a set of 4, put 2 up front and 2 in the back. You can put them on separate switches so you can turn on the fronts or rears, or you can run them like a light bar. You just bolt them side by side by side, and you get a 30-inch light bar out of them. And they're blazing, man. I'm not kidding you. They'll blow your eyeballs out. They're so freaking bright. I was impressed by them. Like I said, I've done a lot of lighting. I've spent a career messing with lights. And when I got these, I was like, you know what? Dorman, 1/3 the price. Dorman? Okay, these are like these are $12 a module. Dorman will sell them to you for $4. For those, yeah. 1/3 the price. What do you craft organic? What are you talking about? 1/3 the price for what? Yeah, yeah, those are nice. Double butt to triple butts. I have some at work that you can. They're just you can go from like a 16 gauge wire up to like a 12. So you can decide, like you could put a 12 on one side and put like 3 or 4 into the other one. They're nice. I don't like those ones that have they're like a bunch of ringlets and they're all together, because they start doing this. They start moving around. Here is a car battery, car tail lights, and indicator flasher unit. Car battery, car tail lights, and an indicator flasher unit. Really? Well, maybe Santa will be good to you this year, and he'll bring you a set of LEDs and put you a big old spotlight on top of the car. Chase those dang kangaroos around. I think I'm gonna make a video about old tools like channel locks, vice grips, and a spud wrench. You guys know what a spud wrench is? A lot of people don't know what they are. I'm gonna drop this video today. This is a spud wrench. You know what that is? You know what it's for? Maggot probably knows. Those with no power. I've done heaps of 12 volt. Oh, really? There's nothing wrong with that. I have a buddy, man. He lived up in the mountains. And what he used to do is they had 12 volt lighting run all through the house. He'd pull the pickup right up to the door, and he had a little wire come out, and he'd open the hood of the car and hook it up. That was the house lights from Dorman Auto Parts from Rock Auto. Yeah. No, it's close though, man. They call these, this is a giveaway. See how it's tapered? It goes like this and it tapers down. And that's just one size. So this is an ironworker's tool. This is how they used to build the bridges for impact guns. So when the beams would come in, they grab the beam and they'd stick this through one hole in the one beam and line it up with the other beam as the crane was bringing in the steel. And then this lines it up. And then as this is lined up, they put the bolt in the other hole. Then they pull this out and they tighten the bolt. So this is how they built like the old bridges, like the San Francisco Bay Bridge and all that. They were built with these wrenches right here, man, by guys that had like guns for arms, because that's what they did all day, was tighten these bolts down. It's called a spud wrench. A buddy of mine used to work on he goes, they drop these from those high rises sometimes. He said, those things go down, you're thinking, oh my God, I want to kill somebody. Slip in my ass easy. Okay. You gone. Makes it nice. StreamYards makes it nice to get rid of people, man. To remove bushings. Looks like a pickle fork. It kind of does on the end, but it's just tapered, kind of like like I have bars like this in my toolbox that I use for lining up panels and stuff. You stick it in through one panel and then the other one and get everything lined up. That's kind of how they used to use them, because it has a real small end here and it's tapered, so they can, the beams would come in and they would guide them in, and they would stick this in the top beam and then put this down in the lower beam as they lower it down to line the beams as they come in. Then they would slip a bolt in and then they would tighten it with this. So these have been around a while. My buddy said that they used to use them in the Army too. I wish I could figure out who made it. It's a 3/4 and it says BS on it. So I don't know. Maybe it says because you're shooting a bull. I don't know, man. I tried to find it online, but I couldn't find any information about it. So I thought it was kind of cool. I thought I'd make a video with this and put this and put a potato next to it and say, is this a spud or a spud? I don't know. Hey, the video making, man, it can be a grind. I got to go back to work in like 3 weeks, and I got so much shit to get done, stuff to get done. That's crazy. It's not a boxed in. Yeah. I know, it's crazy, huh? It looks like it's not rounded off too much, though. It looks pretty decent. Yeah, it was for impact guns. And you think about it, we got all these impacts now. It makes our life so nice, but back then they didn't have impacts. They had some hydraulic stuff, but they use it more for like drilling and that kind of stuff. Took big heavy hoses and like crazy amounts of effort. Easy Money, good morning, brother. How you doing? I wish I could find some easy money. I've been trying. I think later tonight I'm gonna tear into this. I'm gonna tear that 212 down. I'm just gonna videotape it. I'm just gonna put the camera on there, and I can. It's pretty nice though now because I got it set up on the laptop. So and also I figured out I can use 2 cameras on this StreamYard. So I can put one camera for me to talk into, and then put the other camera on what I'm doing. So that might be cool. I don't know. I'm just going to tear it down. It won't be nothing fancy. I'm just going to show everybody how to tear one down, how to get it apart. Take the crank. I think I'll probably leave the crank in for now. Old spanners in a little. Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah, because my buddy said they used to use this in the military when he was in the Army. He was a tank guy. And he goes, yeah, he's seen those in the Army. He goes, it might be a military tool. And he said they was actually like colored like a green color, like, Army green. But I don't know. I don't remember where I got it at, but I've been dragging it around forever. And like I said, I use it. I used to use this to line up power steering boxes because they're so dang heavy, trying to hold them up and get the bolt going. So with a steering gearbox, you can stick this through there and then get the one hole on there where you don't have to hold the box up and then get a bolt going. I put some gearboxes in some big trucks, man, that are just crazy heavy. I did some big sweeper one time. It's a big heavy duty thing they do for sweeping the roads. And man, that thing must have weighed. I got stuck there at the shop by myself and I had to go out the next morning. So I said, I'll stay and do it. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, man, that gearbox is pretty heavy. I got underneath there. Dude, I almost didn't get it in. Man, I fought that thing trying to get it up in there. And finally, I got a strap on it and pulled it up and latched it. And we're just kind of hanging there. It must have weighed over 100 pounds. And it's not bad, but with one arm, that's a lot. Thing was green after the war. The MBSA Bantams were all green. I kind of like, I've seen some old Harleys that were the flatheads. That they have a lot of value. If you find one that's not all tore up, that's an old military Harley, they're worth a ton of money. They look so cool too, all green like that. They got the lift canister boxes on them, place where you mount your rifle up front. That's kind of what happened. That's what made Harley Davidson really famous after the war. Is all the guys that came back from war started riding them, because they got used to using them in the war. 3/4 with a lift. Yeah, I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for the cam. I'm going to do a little research and see what is like a mild cam. I want to put a pretty good lift on it, but I got to match the carburetor so it'll run decent. Nick Franklin, I have a what? B Harley? I'm not sure. I can't make out that first letter. What do you have, Nick? I got a 91 Electroglide and I got a 83 first year Evolution, 84 first year Evolution. Oh, really? That's interesting. Maggot, I didn't know that. Left-hand acceleration so you could shoot right-handed. That's pretty cool. Poor guy that was right, poor guys that were left-handed probably couldn't shoot very well, huh? Most people aren't, though. I got a bunch of Kawasaki. There's over 50 bikes I have to sell. It's not been easy. Do you have any recommendations to sell all these? Where are you located, Nick? Depends. The location matters sometimes. Where are you at? What state are you in? Are you here in the U.S.? Oklahoma? I'm surprised you can't sell them because, man, those parts on all them old import bikes are getting really popular. If you tried to look on eBay and see what the most common parts that people are looking for, and you might be able to just pick all those like really high-end parts off of them, sell them that way, and then sell the carcasses like on Marketplace or, maybe see which ones are sought after because people really are look for those things. Oh, that's Maggot. That's pretty cool to know. I didn't know that. Spiral case, so you couldn't use your sword going up the staircase. That's pretty smart. Why they didn't use a XR65 in the Kawasaki with diesel. Yeah, maybe it was due to the fuel though. I think most of the military stuff ran diesel. Most of your military stuff runs on diesel. I think diesel's easier to transport and it stores better than gas. It's not as volatile either. I always thought diesel was like gasoline. Man, you can't hardly get it to burn. You can't hardly light it on fire unless you compress it. But once you get it burning, it burns for a long. It'll burn. Take a torch to it and it'll burn. Then it'll burn really good. I've never been much on diesels, but man, recently since I got that 7.3, I really fallen in love with that thing. So easy to work on, real basic systems, and it doesn't take much for it to run. All it just needs is some fuel and as long as the fuel injection pump's working, that thing's gonna run. There ain't much that'll keep it from running. Those glow plugs relays, people mess around trying to get those things going. You can just put a toggle on a relay where you can just toggle them yourself. I seen a guy, it was kind of cool. A guy, he had a ninth glow plug, and what he did, he ran a ninth glow plug on that circuit into the cab of the truck so he could turn it on and he could see it that it was glowing, and then he would start the truck. And it was on a toggle switch. The ones that you see in the trucks, they pull out some serious current though. 30 amps per glow plug. So when you turn those glow plugs on, that's like 250 amps of current. About the kind I mean. No, I didn't, Nick. I know that diesel made some pretty cool diesel, or Volkswagen. Those little Volkswagen Beetles that have the diesel TDI in them, those things get crazy fuel mileage. I don't care for the car, but the motor itself is a freaking amazing motor. I always thought about taking something small and putting one of those little TDIs in it because they're kind of a cool little motor. See, 2-seater, it's a Volkswagen diesel engine. 1 tank of gas. That's crazy. Well, you know what? My truck will do that. That FT50 will do that, but it's got 2 fuel tanks. That's what's crazy that I never really looked at with the diesels, because I used to hate them freaking diesels, man. I hated working on them at my job because they stink and they're always dirty. They're all full of grease and stuff because everything sticks to them. And I was like, I used to my boss, I don't want to work on that crappy thing. Give me something else. I don't want to work on that thing. And but now I realize, like I have an F-150. It's got a 5.4 in it, and that diesel, that F-250, it can pull 25,000 pounds, 30,000 pounds, and it gets better gas mileage. Yeah, a two-stroke diesel is so simple. Hey, Maggot, those are cool, man. I almost bought one of those because they are so cool looking. The motor that's in them is kind of not that great, but what I heard is there's something you got to update on them. Once you do that, it's a pretty good ride. I think they have a crappy charging system or something on them. Yeah, those Urals are pretty cool. They have really nice styling. They look like an old, they're a replica of what the BMW. They're a BMW replica. Monday nights, I want to do motorcycle Mondays, man. What do you guys think of that? I thought about doing Monday night and I got a good idea. I was going to do it last night, but I got freaking tied up with crap I didn't want to be doing, and it kind of screwed me up for the timing. I just like, forget it. I was too far behind. I'm just like, I'm not going to go on that late. But I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to put together a Harley Davidson history on a Monday night, and we'll walk through it from 1903 all the way through. Show when the flatheads came in, and then when the knuckleheads started, and the shovels and the panhead, and then on to the evolution, and show all the. I thought that'd be kind of cool. Maybe we'll get some people in here to watch it. We can just do Harley Davidson Monday night on YouTube called Nature Jab that converted plastic into diesel fuel. I've heard of that, but I think it's quite a process. I think you have to use some chemicals, and there's companies that are talking about that now, about converting the plastic into diesel, which is a good thing because we got lots of plastic laying around. Uses a process called electrolysis. Well, they've been using electrolysis for years. They use electrolysis like to clean metals. Yeah. I just wonder what the byproduct of all that is once they get the diesel out of there. I remember when I was a kid, I bought a book. It was called Brown's Fuels. And it was a thing, and it showed you how to make fuel with oranges and citrus and stuff like that. I always thought that was cool. I was like, man, I'm gonna make my own gasoline. I got to pick about 8,000 oranges. I love that kind of technology. It never happened. And you know what happens when people come up with really good solutions? The government shuts it down. I don't like to be a conspiracy theorist, but Saab, I think it was Saab. Saab came up with they had a really good, some good technology going. So Saab came up with a high pressure air tank that mounted underneath the car, and it was like it was dual fueled, so it used it was electric and this gas. So what they would do, they had a regular engine, and they had this high pressure air underneath the vehicle, and what they did was they injected the air into the top of the cylinder just like you would a spark plug timing, and they used that air pressure to force the piston up and down. It was super efficient, and then as it went down the road, it built pressure back up in that tank. So they would use a D cell to build high pressure in this tank, And then when they could use it, they would use the pressure in the tank to just force high pressure air, just like what happens in a combustion engine. You know, when it explodes, it makes a high pressure gas, and that's what sends a cylinder down. And they were talking big on that, like it was going to be able to get like 150 miles a gallon. And then you didn't hear anything about it. It was just like went away. That ran on water and the poison cranberry juice that ran on water. I've heard stories of that. Who knows if it's true or not? I don't know. I think the technology is probably there. You know, really our real fix to all this is hydrogen gas. Fuel cells with hydrogen it's in abundance. So we got so much hydrogen that we can mine underneath the ground, and they can make they can make fuel cells that will drive an electric motor with hydrogen. How they were in the American cars with planned adolescents when they made that deal with the devil. Yeah, I don't know. Our hot rod industry is like, it'll always be there, but man, I tell you, none of the young kids are interested in hot rods anymore. I mean, there's some of them out there, but there's not as many. You know, when I was a kid, I remember that's all we did was wrench on cars. We always had something we were taking a motor out of and putting it in this and trying to figure out how to put a big old huge big block in a pickup or something. And nowadays, these kids they know how to run that cell phone. That's about all they know is how to use a cell phone. You use that bowl for right then put it. Still gives you 3 liters of rocket fuel. Yeah, you know what? Well, you know what? That's how NASCAR got started. Those guys were running moonshine, man. And you can run moonshine in a car. It's freaking alcohol. You can burn alcohol in a vehicle. It'll burn. Well, for then put in still gives you 3 liters of rocket fuel. Yeah, we've been tricked into this society that thinks that we got to go buy everything that's provided by the government. You know, electric propulsion, I've always been kind of intrigued by it. Like I built an electric bike probably 25 years ago. Before you could buy them, I built one here at the house. And it was pretty generic, but I used to ride it to work because I thought it was so cool, man, that the way it was like, had no sound. It had solar panels on it, so I park it at work, and while I was working, it would charge up the batteries and I could make it back home. And it was good transportation. It was heavy, and it went fast and it stopped slow. It would go fast. I mean, I wouldn't stop for crap, man. It had basic brakes on it. And I bought the parts offline, like surplus parts. And then I mounted a contact wheel on the back tire, and the wheel was about this big, and it just went down on the back tire. It was great unless you got the tire wet, and then it was sucked. There was that guy that created the carburetor that got 4 times the gas mileage. Well, I tell people that at work, you know, they're talking about these Hondas and Toyotas, how much gas mileage they get. Look this up when you get time. Look up 1971 through 73, Datsun B110. It was called a 1200 or a Sunny. There was different names for it, but it had a little 1200cc motor in it. That car got like 48 miles a gallon in 1971. That was how long ago? 40 years ago? Almost 50? And it got almost 40 miles a gallon. I think it was like 38. It claimed was 38 to the gallon. You can't get anything that even does that now. Oh, did you really, Maggot? I had one. I just sold one. I had one in the backyard forever. It was my wife's grandpa's car. And when we were going to sell the house, I said, we got to get rid of that. We got to do something with it. I sold it for like $2,500, and it was rotted away. All the lower panels were all rotted, but everything else was there. The seats were still there, the steering wheel, all the glass. They're a neat little car. Yeah, they're a neat little car. I wish I had it back, man. Because I remember when I first started driving it, I got it from her grandma. When her grandma passed, I got the Datsun because I used to work on it for her. And the first week I drove it, I was driving it back and forth to work, and I was about 20 miles from work, and I was like banging on the fuel gauge. I was thinking the thing was stuck. I was like, man, the needle hasn't moved. And that thing, it got such great gas mileage, but they didn't weigh hardly nothing, you know. It had really nice McPherson front suspension, had 12-inch tires on it. The tires were 12 by 4. I saw a guy utilize a single motorcycle car on a V8 with precision flooring. Really? That's pretty crazy, huh? Yeah, that's a cool car. Good luck at finding one. And if you do, somebody's going to want $7,000 or $8,000 for it. They're hard to find. And when you find them, they don't want to let go of them. I let go of mine too cheap. After I sold it, I was like, man, I should have got twice that money for it. Because you can't. I always thought that'd be a good little. I was always wanting to put a little Harley motor in it because they were real small. They came with a 1200. The one I had a 1300, and you could get a 1400, and they all were the same. You know, they'd fit right in. The 12, 13, and 14 were identical blocks, just bigger bore and stroke. So you could take a 1200 out and put a 15 in. I had a little Datsun 510 with an L20B in it. That thing was a screamer, man. I put a what was the carburetor I put on there? It's a real popular carburetor. It's it wasn't a Mikuni. It was a can't think of the name now. They're real popular with the imports. So I put a nice carburetor on it and an intake or a nice camshaft and rebuilt the motor. That thing was scream, man. It was like a rally car. We used to take it up in the mountains, you know, and go up there like in the wintertime when it was raining. And go up there and get like, you know, go get a Christmas tree or whatever. And man, we'd be going up in the mountains, and then the roads would be all just mud and gravel, man. We just be going around those corners, just drifting around the corners and that thing. It was fun, man. I just looked at Elbrock 750. No, it was a little. I'll think of the name. They had a square air filter on them, like this, and they were square, and they had little clips on them. So the top of the carburetor just looked kind of. The air filter was square. I can't think of the name of it now, but they used to be very common in the imports for aftermarket stuff. And actually, at that time, that carburetor was smog legal in California, which was cool because I was able to put a cam in it, and I was able to change that carburetor, and it was still smog. It was a damn. What was the name? I'll think of it later. That's what happens when you get old. Can't remember crap, man. It's nighttime, your time, isn't it, Maggot? What time is it at your house? Rochester. No, it was gosh, I'm trying to think. Let me see if I can figure it out. Let's see if I can figure it out real quick. That's a nice thing about Google, man. It brings back. You can find anything. Let's see. Trying to remember the name of it. When I see one, I'll know what it is because I remember what they used to look like. It was they were common on the import carbs. You didn't see them on anything but like Datsuns, Hondas, Toyotas, Weber. That's what it was, a Weber. They look like, see if I can find one. Yeah, they make all kinds of stuff, but it was a Weber. They were a good carburetor. Yeah. Yeah, I cheated. I don't use AI much, but man, I got used to using that Chat GPT. It's like using Google on steroids, man. If I want to know something, bam, it's right there. I did some research on hats, by the way. I'm looking into getting some merch, and I'm trying to find some good quality hats. I don't want to buy junk, so I want to get some. Two companies I'm looking at is a company called Richardson. They sell real top premium wool blend hats, and the other one is Goupon. Goupon is like really popular, especially with the like kids and college people that buy a lot of hats and stuff. But they're not cheap, so probably got to price our hats around $50 because it's kind of expensive to have the embroidery done. I was surprised how much this costs. I even looked into a machine. I was thinking, hell, I'll just get a machine and do it myself. But a machine's like $6,000 for a good one. Yeah, isn't that something, Nick? 33 to the gallon. And go look up that Datsun. Put in there, Datsun 12 miles per gallon. I think it's like 38 to the gallon. It was crazy how good that thing was on gas. It had a single barrel, 1 barrel carburetor. It looks like about the size of a carburetor on a lawnmower. It was a little small downdraft carburetor. Whoever had the foam. Yeah, it did. Yep. It was kind of like what's the ones pre-K&N. It had a cleanable air cleaner. They're a nice carburetor, man. They work good too. I've tore them apart before. They're easy to work on. Much rather have a well-made fitted hat. So what are you talking about, Craft Organics? Because these ones I'm looking at, they're like premium hats. They're not cheap. They have the structure in them, so they hold their shape real well. Because you can get hats anywhere from $2 a piece up to 25. So these are about $10 or $12 a unit just for the hats, and then you got to pay to have this put on. So you're almost $25 into the hat by the time you get done, or 20. I'm trying to keep it around 20. What we're gonna get some premium hats like you're talking about. Get a really good, well-fitted hat, and then we're gonna do 2 lines. I think we're gonna do first. So if some kid wants to get a hat and he doesn't, you only want to spend 15 or 20 bucks, we'll just get some like Go Big but not embroidered. We'll just get Go Big heated on ones because my daughter can do those. And then we're gonna do real good quality ones. I'm looking at that 2 companies, Richardson and Goupon, are like the top ones for brands in the country right now. No strap. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do because that's what I like. There's no, like in the back, there's no hole here, and they're flex fit, so they don't have, they fit your head real well, and they don't like mushroom out over time. T-shorts. Let's see. No strap. What'd you say, Maggie? Car stickers. What kind of car stickers? Like Go Big car stickers with some hot rods and stuff on them? That's a good idea. Oh, really? 41. Yeah, I was thinking it was like 38. That's crazy though, huh? Think about what that says. We were getting 41 miles a gallon in 1971. And now we can't even do that now with all the electronics, fuel injection, and all that crap we got. We still can't beat that. Like a Strongberg. Yeah. Trying to think, it's a Japanese carburetor, but it does kind of look like a Strongberg. T-shirts. No, it's over for you. DuPont. I got the Kevlar DuPont riding pants. Oh, I bet those are nice. DuPont for the riding pants. T-shirt, I meant. Yeah, we're looking into some shirts too. I just don't want to spend too much money and not be able to sell them. That's what I'm a little worried about. Because just doing a hat order, most of the places you deal with, if you want to get a good deal, you got to buy 40 minimum. And then you got to get the embroidery done. So I'm hoping that, because we're going to have $1,000 into the hats by the time we get done, because if we order 100 hats, we're going to be a couple grand into them. That's a lot of money for us. Hoodies. Yeah. There's a lot of money in apparel, but you got to get people that want to buy it, you know. You got to have something that people really want. But you know, the channel's going pretty good. I mean, we don't have a lot of people in here right now, but there's times, man, we got 50, 60 people in here. It just depends on the time of the day. And I want to do a schedule. So we're going to do Monday. We're going to do Fridays like we've been doing, where we do the tool giveaway. I'm hoping the tool giveaway will get some traction, where people will want to come for the tool giveaway, because that's pretty cool. I've never ever been able to go to anything online and win something for free. So the tool giveaway. So we got to keep promoting the super thanks and the super likes, because that helps us be able to afford to do all that. But I'm thinking, you know, the Friday night, I was thinking about doing like a 15-minute of teaching prior to it. Maybe people would enjoy that. Like go through an ignition system, make a patch. Yeah, that's a good idea. My daughter can do the patches for me. That's what's helpful. If I want to do hats, she can do patches and like the iron-on stuff. But like I told my girl, I said, you don't want to be selling some kind of piece of junk, man. When you're going to put your name on something, you want it to be like this, good quality. Because, you know, you don't want like the letters falling off and then people get on there. So, oh, I bought one of those hats. They suck, you know. So it can hurt you. It can kill you. You know, people don't trust you because you're selling them an inferior product. My personal opinion on most stuff that I've ever bought, I'd rather pay more for it and get a good quality product than buy a piece of junk. But so what I'm doing, I'm going to have about 4 or 5 samples sent to us, so we can look at them and wear them and use them and say, okay, this is the hat. It's good quality. It looks nice. It holds up. And then we'll order like 100 of them, have them made if I can. I can use a course on motorcycles. I'm a hot rod guy, so I do LS motors, flatheads, big mutsy. Stay away from anything foreign. Foreign stuff's not too bad. They're just different. That's all. Same principle on all of them. That's the thing about auto mechanics. You know, the principles are the same no matter what you're working on. We're at fuel inject engine, carburetor. If so, do you just run non-ABS? I haven't done that, but I think it'd be pretty easy to do. You know, like if you took a small block Chevy that was like had TBI on it and put a carburetor on it, you just don't even have to pay attention to just jerk the computer out. You know, the only thing is the fuel injected motors ran a pressurized fuel system. So you'd have to go to like a low pressure, like rail mounted fuel pump for the carburetor, and just tie it into the tank and just, you know, do away with that high pressure pump that's in the tank, you know. And you could probably just leave the computer in and just ignore the light. You know, you could probably just put a carburetor in there and just ignore the light. It depends on what kind of controls it has on it, though. Like, you probably have to drop an HEI in there and get rid of like the computer's control of the timing and, you know, that kind of stuff. You'd have to do a little research. I think it wouldn't be that hard. I think you could do it. But actually, the fuel injection is pretty good. If it's 350 TBI is that's a good system, man. Yeah, probably about somewhere around there, maybe even less. Usually regular carburetor fuel pressure is around 7-8 pounds, somewhere in there. You can just put a regulator on it. You know, put a inline regulator on it and then adjust it up and down till it feels good. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think it'd be that tough. Here's what you can do. Look for the ones that were offered in like Federal and California. And some of the models came with carburetors on them, even though some of them were fuel injected. I'll give you an example of that. Harley Davidson builds a Morelli fuel injection system, and they're good as long as they're working. If they start having problems, you can't get parts for them or nothing. You can take that Morelli off, and they built a carbureted unit of that of that bike the same year. So what you do is you just go find a carbureted one in a boneyard and jerk and steal a harness off of it, and then put a carburetor on it. You're done. Because it came both ways. So if you get something that came both ways, like some of your trucks and stuff, they'll come fuel injected. But if you look at the federal models, so they have California federal, the federal ones came with a carburetor on. So you just get one and just jerk all the stuff off the federal and put it on that truck and get rid of the fuel injection and change the harness. You're done. Use a non-ECU control one, maybe. Yeah, for sure. Yep. Yeah, I agree, Nick. I'm the same way. That's it. I have a 71 Chevy pickup, and I'm not kidding you. There ain't a single thing that's been done to that truck. It still has a point ignition system in it. The old V-belts, same, it has an old 4-barrel rock or quadrijet sitting on it. Nothing's been upgraded. The only thing that's been done to that truck, somebody put a Grant wheel on it. I'm looking for another wheel for it because I hate that wheel. I find a cheap car, fix it up and sell it. Yeah, it's a good way. That's a good way to make money, man. And right now, the used car markets are so high. How old are you, Easy Money? I tell you, that little 7.3 I got, man, I'm so happy with that thing. It has no computer in it. It has no turbo. Freaking bulletproof motor, man. Be a great example. Yeah, that would be. Yeah, it'd be a good way to do that is just rip everything out, man, and go with a non-computer controlled motor instead of try to convert one. Just find something that's non-computer controlled and then just do away with the computer and just hook up the basics. You can't do that here. You're 52. Okay. Yeah, that's a problem with California. Like certain states, you can just do all that stuff. You can just take something, jerk the motor out, put a different motor in, make it run, go get it registered, no problem. California, you can't do any of that. You can't do engine changes. If it didn't come that year with that engine offer, you can't do the engine change. So that's why here, and they're talking about moving the year back. So right now, I think it's like from 74 and newer has to be smogged. I think that's the year, somewhere in there. But they're talking about moving up to 1980. There's some legislation going on that's called the Jay Leno Act or something. And they're trying to move the year up to 1980, where everything from 1980 and below is smog exempt. Man, if they do that, it's going to make all these old square body trucks worth a fortune, man. Because there's a lot of like trucks from, in the 80s that you can't even sell them because they got feedback carburetors on them and you can't change the motors. You can't do nothing. They don't smog well. So they're just junk. They're just sitting around as being used for parts. And they change that rule, man, you're going to see some money being made because you're going to be able to pick up them old trucks for nothing and get them smogged. Okay, pre 1975. Yeah, so that's what I thought. So for 74 back, you got a Ford Fairlane 501 original motor in it that still runs, a 68 Chevy pickup, and it still runs great. Like I said earlier, man, plan obsolescence. You're right, man. Yeah, that Ford Fairlane was my first car. I had a 60, I think it was a 7 Ford Fairlane 500 4-door with a 289 in it. That truck of mine, that 71, I'm not exaggerating. You can go out there and go like this with one finger and the door will close. Like it was built yesterday, man. Crazy what good quality they used to build. These new trucks now, biggest pile of crap. I work on them all the time. I say, they pay 80 to 100 grand for these trucks now. The counties do for these big, like these trucks for the crews, the crew cabs with the diesel motor and all that in. They're pushing $90,000. I'm like, I wouldn't give you $10,000 for this truck. It's a pile of crap. I got a 73 Comet sitting in the backyard right now as my daughter's first car. 73 Mercury Comet with a factory 302. I should build that car. I don't know why I haven't. It's just, it's been on my radar for years, and it's been done. The interior's been done. It's got nice paint on it still. I just got to go through I got to freshen it up. It's been sitting, so should put an intake on it or something. Audio? What's up with audio? My first car. Audio's good or bad? I see a thumbs up. Audio. What does that mean? Those weren't a great year for Mustang. 68. 68 Ford Mustang POS. I always wanted a 65 Mustang fastback. That's always a car I've always wanted. I just love the way that backs, the way that it just looks nice. 65 fastback. Nice car. I tell you, some of the Plymouth, man, I'd love to have some of the Plymouths, like the Duster. What's the other one? I'm trying to think of what it is that I love. It's got a really big curved back window. I'd rather have a 77 F350, those new city work trucks. Yeah, those new. That's what I do. That's what I do at my job. So I do police cars mainly, and I do cars for like probation. So I put the cages and all that stuff in, and I do all the lighting. But I also do the trucks for the crews, so the road crews. So I set up the Ford F-250s, the F-350 crew cabs, put the radios and put lighting on them, and the fuel tanks in the back and the boxes and all that stuff. So I do setups. So I take brand new trucks and cars and I set them up to be used by different departments. On the road won't even last 10 years now. But the plastic is ridiculous, man. And the beds too. I was telling my boss last season, I said, and I don't, be careful, you might be watching. The beds in the new trucks, they're like aluminum cans, man. The beds are made of aluminum, and they're they're so thin, and we're mounting fuel tanks in them. So you mount a fuel tank in there, a 50-gallon tank, and fill it full of fuel. You know, fuel's what, 11 pounds a gallon? Or even 10 pounds a gallon. There's 5. By the time you get that in there, you got 650 pounds of tank sitting in there. You hit a tree with that thing, that tank ain't staying in there. It's going to rip right out of the box. It'll come right out of the bed, because the beds are just, I've been telling them, we got to go in there and put some like big metal pieces under there, because there's nothing there. You're going through with a bolt and a nut on a piece of thin freaking aluminum. It ain't going to stay. It's going to come right out of that truck. All my time favorite car. Yeah. 65 Shelby Cobra 427, I guess. Factory 5 is a pretty good Shelby Cobra kit. Yeah, one of the guys that owns a shop around here, he built one of those with a kit. It was nice. Yeah, I know. They're horrible, man. I see the beds. They're just junk. Matter of fact, a couple of years ago, I was working on one of the pickups, and I was up underneath the firewall in the fender well, and I was working on a suspension, and I leaned on the fender trying to pull on a nut, and I rolled the fender, man, with my shoulder. Put a big old dent in it. I was like, I can't believe I just put a big old dent in that truck. My boss goes, what? I said, I was pulling on a wrench, man. I had my shoulder up against it and just completely collapsed the fender. I build bucket kit cars are scary, and I also used to do sprint cars on the dirt track. Those things are insane. Yeah, Nick, used to do sprint cars. I always liked sprint car. I always wanted to get into sprint car racing. It's just so expensive, man. I just never had the money to do that. I think I'd be good at it because I love racing. I know a lot about automotive. I love those. See what I'm working on? I'm going to build a little, that's my budget, man. I'm going to build a 212cc lawnmower engine. Or Galaxy with the Ford FE Cobra. Yeah, the Galaxies were no slouch, man. Always get laid and they afford Mondio. Man, I worked on some crap when I first started. And here's what we got a whole bunch of. I started working on, or actually wrenching hard in the early 80s. So we got like Ford Tempos, Chevy Chevettes, Mercury Bobcats. What is another pile, man? You ever worked on a Yugo? They were made in Yugoslavia. What a pile of crap those things were. The Tempos were the biggest piece of junk on the road back in the day. I hated those cars. There were certain things on those carburetors on the Tempos. They would idle up and down, up and down. No matter what you did, they had this big old dash pot on. So I figured out there was this little bracket on there. So I figured out I could get in there with a bar and I could bend that bracket over the throttle where it would hold it. And the thing couldn't make it move. And that was my fix, man. I said, I can fix those. Give me a pry bar. Worker ran fine after that because they were just crap, man. The computer controls in the 80s were such crap, man. They were bad. Nothing ran right. Everything had a problem. That's when it came in. Was about 1980. They started the feedback carburetor for the Quadrajet. What a pile of crap that thing was. All kinds of problems, man. The solenoids would break off down in the carburetor. The solenoid would stop working. People would get in there and start adjusting stuff, and it'd be so screwed up you couldn't hardly get the thing to run. They were junk, man. The 80s were the worst, man. I had a smog license at the time, and I was re-vacuuming full trucks, man. Ford like 390s, 460s, and I'd go through a roll of vacuum line like in 2 days. I would run so much vacuum line because they'd come in, they had taken all the smog stuff off and they were trying to get them smog. So we'd have to research what it needed. So we'd have to get all the temperature sensors, the valves, everything that was required for the smog and put back on. Man, it was a nightmare. Hold my pry bar. Super reliable, pathetically slow. No 4MK. What are you driving that's so reliable and slow? Yeah, the trucks are junk, man. You know what, too? It's crazy. Most of the stuff on the big pickups now, the Fords, especially the Fords, I don't know about how the Dodges and the GMs are. The Fords, anything you got to do to that truck, you got to pull the cab off. The whole cab has to come off. It's crazy. It adds like 10 hours of the job. A 77 Lada 1.6 single cam. Man, I worked on some junk though, man. Some of these cars I worked on in the 80s, oh my God. I don't know how I stayed in the field. About 87, everything got good because that's when they went to first year fuel injection for GM. But you got to pull the cab. It was a freaking nightmare. It is a freaking nightmare. It's crazy, man. Sabrina Biswas. Welcome to the live. I'm not sure what all those letters mean, but hey, you alien. Sarbari, whatever. It's all planned. Was it to break? Yeah, it's so. You look back at some of these older cars, man, like the Chevy Novas and the Chevy pickups and, anything that's like in the early 70s, the quality is 10 times what we're doing today. That 71 Chevy pickup I have, I wouldn't be afraid of getting that thing and drive it to New York tomorrow. And it's freaking, it was built in 1971. These things that they have now, what piece of crap, man. Hey, moving to the Philippines. Are you doing that, dude? Man, I tell you what, I would do it in a heartbeat. I'm trying to figure that out. If I can get stuff figured out, man, I'm going to the Philippines come January. Well, actually, January, I got something coming up. I'm probably going to go like February or March. We are going to go a week to the Philippines because I'm going to go check it out, man. It's so cheap to live over there. Hey, did you go check out that guy I told you about, Joe Wander? He's got some good content. That'd be a good gig for you, Phil. Phil Collins. I love Phil Collins, man. I used to listen to a lot of Phil Collins. Phil Collins was, man, he was my man back in the day. Man, I think living in the Philippines would be great. I have a travel trailer, a Super Duty for sale, $550,000. Good job, man. Good deal. I'm glad you're doing something, dude. I'm so proud that you're doing that. I think you're gonna look back and go, man, I should have done this a long time ago. Everybody I've talked to that did this, they are like, man, people don't even know what they're missing. You know, it's a different life, man. And I tell people, hey, do something like that. You can always pivot, man. People think every time they do something, it's permanent. No, it ain't, man. You can just do whatever. You can run, but you can't hide. It's not a forever thing. If it's not your thing, you can always pivot and do something else. I wish I didn't stay in this house for 40 years. I wish I would have done some moving around. But I had kids, and a family, so I stayed right here. I've been in this house since, I've been here in this town where I live since 1982. Yep, nothing is permanent. And you know what, man? If you're serious about going over there, you might get over there and go, frickin', I love it over here. Everyone I've talked to, and I've talked to people online too, that say, man, it's such a better life than we live here. And there's some things you got to think about, like weather and the hospitals. And I feel like about the hospitals, because people think about that a lot. What if, do they have a good hospital? You know what? A good hospital ain't going to save your ass. If you're going, dude. No hospital going to save you. Yeah, maybe if you got in a bad accident or something, be good to be able to get to a good hospital. But Manila has good hospitals, man, really good ones. That $50,000 out of my price, I have a semi Dodge van I could trade, but I think that's only worth around like $5,000. Yeah, I can't. What year is the Super Duty? Because man, I won't buy nothing I wouldn't buy nothing in Ford. I thought about a 2000 Ford F-250 with a 7.3, but it's got a computer in it. And I hate computers. And I work on computers every day and I understand them. That's all I've done for my whole career. That's why I hate them so much, because I know what piles of crap they are. Here's what's happening with the truck industry too, and it's happening faster and faster. You can get a truck that's 7 years old and you can't buy parts for it. I'm not kidding you, we've had vehicles at where I work that at 7 years you call the dealer and they say they're obsolete. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, the parts are obsolete. You got to go to the junkyard. This truck is 7 years old, dude. And he's like, yep, no, there's no parts. They're obsolete. A 21. That's a pretty good year right there, Phil Collins. That's a good one to have. Is it a crew cab? I can't afford $50,000 though. I only paid $700 for mine, but it's a 92 with an IDI in it. You'll probably get it, man. People are spending crazy money for those things. A 21 is a good year. In the Philippines, I heard, yeah. No, I'm sorry. That was Dominican Republic. The guy said, yeah. Well, they don't debate. They're very relaxed. Hey, look, check it out though, Phil. They're having some kind of unrest right now with their government. Check it out a little bit. There's something going on there right now. About corruption or something. I don't know. I've seen some stuff in the news. Guess this was a joke. Yeah, you ain't kidding. Or in Boston, Houston, good luck getting in there if you're not from there. Yeah, you ain't kidding. So I talked to a guy, because I'm really talking. I bought a thing about I bought a map of the Philippines. I bought a book reading about it. I go to Asian countries for operations here. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Okay, so I talked to a guy and he said, a lot of people go over there uninsured. He goes, because it's so cheap. He goes, you go to the dentist and get a tooth pulled, and it's like $20. You go to he goes, talk to a guy that had open heart surgery, and I know it's a lot of money, but it's not here. He had open heart surgery, He paid out of pocket and it was 20 grand. You did well if you didn't open. You get a $20,000 bill here for a freaking headache at the hospital. You know. So the cost of healthcare over there is way cheaper, man. Like crazy cheaper. You know, any kind of stuff like that is bone cheap, man. Anything you do over there is that way. You know, you can get a haircut for like $3. You can go out to dinner for $5. You can rent a house for $300 a month. Yep, that's the going rate, man. $650 a month with a $15,000 deductible. And there's people that are going bankrupt, man, when they get something happens to them, like me right now. If I got hurt or had a heart attack or something, and I couldn't work, I'd be screwed. I really would be. Because what it would cost me for the medical, for the bill I'd probably have to sell my house. Just, you know, that's why I'm thinking, you know what, man, maybe it's time to get the hell out of here. You know, or at least go look at it. I mean, you don't want to be a citizen. I mean, I think you still want to keep your roots here a little bit, you know, because I think it takes a lot to be an actual citizen of the Philippines, but you can renew your visa pretty easy. So you can, you know, there's ways you got to look into all that, because like when you first get there, they'll give you like a 2-month extension, and then you got to go back and so you got to do your extensions. But, you know, I was thinking go over there for 6 months out of the year, at least. And you can live right on the frickin' ocean, man, right at the beach. You know, you can, and not saying we should take advantage of people that don't have no money, but, you know, their economy is so bad that you can like have somebody come in like a maid for your house and take care of your groceries and all your laundry for like $200 a month. And like lawyers and doctors over there, they make $3,500 a month. So you can go over there, if you got $3,000 a month coming in with retirement and Social Security, you can live like a doctor over there. I mean, you can live pretty good. Your quality of life is a lot better than what it is here. I just got a water bill, and I think they screwed up my meter. I got to go down and talk to them. My water bill was $600. Can you believe that? I was born American and Texan by the grace of God. I ain't gonna leave America. It's the devil, I know, right? People here go to Bali, Indonesia, get your teeth done. Yeah, that's what I've heard. They have what they call like healthcare tourism, where people go and have procedures done outside the country. And it's sad that we have to do that, man. Because even like, look at our Social Security, man. And I don't want to talk politics, but our Social Security is such a freaking bone in the butt. It's like you work your whole life, and then they tell you, well, you can't make more than $23,000 a year, or we're going to take half of your Social Security. That's how I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but Social Security now, if you work after you're retired, after you get your Social Security, if you work during those years, if you're not at full retirement age, once you hit $23,000, for every dollar you make, they take 50 cents. So it's like you're making half wages. So you got to stay poor to get Social Security. It's just and it's money that you earned. It's not their money. You earned that money and gave it to them to take care of it. And then now they tell you, well, here's what you got to do to get it back. When my wife passed, you know, I was thinking, oh, you know, maybe, you know, the survivor benefits would help me. And they did, but I'm under those same rules. Right now, if I make more than $23,000 a year, I lose for every dollar, I lose 50 cents. You know? So it's a mess, man. It really is. It's not right. You know, it's not right to take people's money like that they earned. They worked hard for. You know, so I don't know. I really was in a bad spot when my wife passed away, because I lost half my income. And then, you know, now because I'm working part-time, I'm going to have to tell my bosses this year, hey, I'm only going to work up to 23,000 and I'm done. Because as soon as I go over 23,000, half my wages get taken away from me. So it's not even worth doing. So it's not right, man. It's really screwed up. And like my wife, okay, she worked her whole life, and then you can't even get the money until you turn 60. So no matter how old your wife was, you can't claim the money until you turn 60. Well, I'm going to get my Social Security at 62. So basically, they're only going to have to pay me 2 years of all the money that she paid into it. So basically, I'm going to get like what, $24,000 of the money that she worked her whole life for? It's such a ripoff. That dual citizenship have lost the right to vote in America. When are you agree? The more money I make concreting, the more tax I pay. I only work for cash now. No, they're forcing people into that. That's why you see so many people selling fruit and stuff on the corners, because they're not paying taxes on it. Yep, they're going to do away with that. I don't know. I know out in Tennessee, man, that's a really common thing. People work for cash. Everything's cash out there. If you go in and tell somebody you're going to pay cash, they give you a discount. So you could avoid Social Security and insure yourself with just putting the money back. Yeah, it'd be nice if they gave us an option. What if they said, hey, you don't want to pay into Social Security, you don't, and you just do whatever you want. You can invest your money however you want. You could have invested your money into freaking, rubber balls and done better than what the government's done with our money. If you took all the money we paid into Social Security and put it into a stocks or something, anything, you'd be 10 times ahead of the game. It's just such a ripoff. It's a total ripoff. Go get surgery in Mexico. She got an infection and died. It happens here, man. My wife went in the hospital, and she died from an infection in the hospital. And she was in a good hospital here. So she got staph in the hospital from when they put the port in her for her cancer. It got infected and they didn't even notice it. I was the one that noticed. I'm like, why is there pus coming out of this thing? She had seen like 4 doctors and no one noticed there was like yellow pus coming out of her sore. And she went septic and she died in the hospital, man. 6 days. She was done. She was gone. Yeah, our kids, man. I've been preaching that forever. Like, man, we need to be teaching our kids skills. They don't have no skills anymore. If you took away their cell phone and kicked them out of the house where they would have to figure out how to survive, most of them would die. They don't know how to hunt. They don't know how to fish. They don't know how to fix nothing. They don't know how to use their, common sense thinking on anything anymore. Kids can't even figure out how to give you change. Yeah, but now they're trying to implement a cashless society. They have reverse ATMs where you enter cash to create credit. Yeah, that's what I worry about. It's going to come to the point where the government's going to issue you a card, and that's going to be the way you do transactions. And then after that, they have control of everything, all your money. Cash will have no value. That's why people keep preaching gold forever. They've been saying that forever. When the society collapses, gold will be the only way that people will do business. It'll be done with gold and silver. I don't like talking politics, though. I don't mind talking politics with you guys, but man, when you get a group of people in here, people get crazy about politics, man. It just pisses me off after a while. She gone wrong. I hold my intestine and bowel with a belt. I'll never go near a hospital again. Really? Yeah, man. Hospitals are not what you think they are. I'm a non-doctor guy, man. I'm 61. I've been a doctor probably a handful of times, and I'm lucky. I've never had nothing bad happen. But I had surgery on my right knee. I ripped my ACL in half when I was 25, so I had to have surgery on my right knee, and I've had pain in my back forever, but man, I don't trust them to stick a needle in my back. Yeah. Yeah, half the time you go to the doctor anymore and they're like, well, we're going to have you do this test. And, oh, well, that didn't come out. Oh, well, we're going to try this other test. And every test they're giving you is costing you $1,000. It's like you got an endless amount of money, and they never fix anybody, man. I think all they do is provide, medicines that cure a few things. And if it's something serious, you're screwed. I had back surgery. It was great. Really, Phil? So you had good success, huh, Phil? Everybody I ever met that had back surgery is worse than when they started. You're one of the exceptions. They keep looking at mine saying, oh, I don't see anything wrong. Well, shit, how come I've had pain for 7 years? I can't even hardly bend over. I just deal with it, whatever. I don't think they really go looking they just want the easy money, man. They want you to make an appointment, come in, and then we're going to make you an appointment for 2 months, and then we're going to make you an appointment for 6 months, and then you go in there and they got 50 people in there. You got to wait half the day to be seen, and they're just pumping the money through there, man. It's like a freaking money machine. Yeah, I agree, man. Back to motorcycles. Yeah, let's do that, man. I really talk about that stuff. What was your first motorcycle? I know, Maggot's got some good stories about his first. He still got some of his. And bartering items, yeah. Nick, my first motorcycle, and this was my first vehicle. My brother bought a compound bow from a buddy of his for $140. Oh, let's see. No, my brother traded the bow for the motorcycle. He paid $140 for the bow, and he got the motorcycle. And it was a Honda XL 350 Enduro, and it didn't run. And at the time, hey, nobody, go big for sure, man. And my brother, so he brought the bike home, and we started tinkering with it. And I smelled the gas. I said, the gas doesn't smell right. And he goes, oh, I bet you they put Mogas in it. And Mogas is military gas. It's real crappy quality. So we drained the tank and put some regular gas in it and fire right up, man. Run like a kid. So my brother, he said, give me what I paid for the bow. You can have the bike. So my first vehicle was $140. It was a 1975 or 6. I think it was around there, 75. XL 350 Enduro. So you could ride it on the road. It was licensed for the road, but you could take it off road. It had knobby tires on it. That was my first motorcycle and my first vehicle I ever drove. Yeah, it's called Mogas. It's Army gas. It's what he told me. I wasn't in the Army, so I don't know. Maggot, those YZ80s were a crazy bike, man. Those things were fast. My buddy got a brand new Yamaha YZ80 for his birthday. And there was a guy that lived by us, and he had an XR250, and he used to kick his butt on that YZ80 on a short track. The guy couldn't even catch him. The best doctor is yourself, because nobody knows you better than yourself. Implant meds that make you worse. Yeah, I know. I don't trust them. None of them. Yeah, Maggot, that was was that a monoshock bike? That YZ80? Caleb Wagner, what's up, brother? Hey, what's the 67 thing about, man? I keep seeing that. I don't even know what it is. Do you guys know what that is? My father put me on it. I almost broke my leg on that thing. I thought I did. I was going around. I had my leg out like that, and I was ripping around a corner. And I went the other way and folded my leg under the bike. And man, I got up, man. I thought for sure I broke my leg. I was hopping around crying like a little girl. I must have been about 12 or 13. Nick, I just do YouTube. Actually, I try to do videos. I just started doing the live, man. It looks it's been working out pretty good. You do Discord? I've heard of Discord. I thought about doing a podcast because I like to sit here and bullshit with people, you know. And it seems people seem to like it. I don't know. Maybe I'm entertaining, fun to look at, look goofy or something. I don't know. They're making about $800. Yeah, it was a G model, 1967. Okay, because I've seen a lot of people put that on there. I don't know. I've just seen it a lot. I'm thinking, okay, maybe that's their age. First of model shock was the G. That was a fast bike though, man. Those things were freaking fast. I'll tell you a funny story about that bike. My buddy, he got it brand new. His mom and dad used to buy him all kinds of stuff like that. I was poor, man. I lived in poverty. I could barely afford a bicycle. I never had a new bicycle as a kid. Every bike I ever had was made out of parts. Twitch, I heard that. I'll check that out. I don't know if I have enough content or people would sit and listen and talk about automotive on Twitch, but I give it a shot. You know, I like doing these lives. It's kind of funny. Sometimes we get quite a few people. Like some of our first lives, we got 5,000 views. And you know what? I tell this to people that are like trying to build their YouTube channel. Lives are the way to go. Because lives, they push you out on the shorts feed. If you do vertical, and you get a lot of traction. And we got we got 40,000 views last month on our channel. Over there, that's why I downloaded the app. I never heard of it before. It's just like a platform like YouTube, I guess. Yeah, I've heard of that. Twitch. Some friends of ours, he has a Twitch account. Nick says, I got a Honda 919. I'm trying to get rid of right now. It's red. It's in mint condition too. It's just been sitting in the garage in our tarp. I'm probably going to try to get it around 35 for $4,000. What's a 919? Is that 919 cc? It's like a dirt bike. We sold the G and the people brought it back. It was too dangerous, they said. That bike was fast, man. You could fly through the air in that thing on the monoshock. Like I said, I'll tell you a story about that little bike. So I was broke joke, man. I was raised without a dad. My mom, you know, she worked as a waitress. We didn't have no money. We were just like living in poverty. But I had a friend, his mom and dad, you know, they could afford stuff. So on his birthday, he got a brand new YZ80. And then I had another friend, he lived just like me, man. We could barely afford to put shorts on in the summer. And so we'd go out there and ride with him. Well, we were taking turns and they had these like whoop-de-doos right there where we lived. And we'd ride up those whoop-de-doos, jumping over them. And we got to where we could hit one and jump over the second one and land on the third one. And so my other buddy that I was telling you about, he was poor like me. He gets on there and there was a bunch of girls hanging out there. So he was starting to show off. You know, he comes down the hill and he goes, wah, wah, wah. And he hits that bump, man. I'm looking at him going, holy crap, he's going way too fast. And he hit that freaking thing. And he come down and where we were riding at, man, there's these cobble rocks like this big everywhere. He hit the ground and just rolled that thing, man. I mean, just ate crap bad. Bent the bars, messed up the front forks, you know, and he gets off and he's in shock and he stands up. And he's like trying to gain and he's all messed up because he rolled across those rocks and he had a freaking hole in his side. Like he looked like he got shot with a 45, man. He had a hole in his side where you could stick your thumb in. And I walk over to him. I go, hey, I said, look at me. And I go, don't look down, just look at me. And he looked down at that and he seen that and he went into shock, man. And he takes off running. He's just in shock, man. He just takes off running. And there was a barn right there by where we were riding. He just runs straight in that barn, man, at full throttle, man, running. Boom, hits the door. So we go running over there. He's in shock, man. So we got him, took him to his mom. He was all screwed up from that bike. That bike did it. You don't shut off to change gears. Now he makes video games. Okay, I didn't miss this part. Sorry, I missed that part. It says, his name is Thor. Dude, the automotive community is everywhere. Yeah, they do. Trying to catch up, bro. I was sitting there bullcrapping. Yeah, heard of a pirate software back him up. He has a lot of good tricks to get views on. He basically played the algorithm like a fiddle. Really? I know it's a game, that's for sure. His name is Thor. His name is Thor on what? On Twitch? We race over oversight piston, fully worked bikes. Yeah, those YZs were fast enough, man. You didn't have to. I could imagine what it was like when you worked one over. He used to be a hacker for the U.S. government. Really, his name's Thor. Now he makes video games and runs a ferret rescue. We don't shut off. Yeah, you have to get 50 subs minimum. So get increase from that bike. Twitch is more for gaming. Discord is more the community. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Because this guy that I know has Twitch. He's a gamer. "27 12-year-olds on the start line. Flat rev, second gear launch." Yeah, I bet that was good times, huh? I bet you still think about those times, don't you? Whole shot trick for the YZ8 and the YZ250 was a third gear launch. Yeah, those things were fast. Like I said, man, there was a kid that was near us that he had a CR250, and my buddy Leonard, he used to kick his butt with that YZ80 on a short track because he could just rip through them. Man, he was so good on it. He was just fast. It was a fun bike. Like I said, I almost broke my leg on that bike. I still remember that day. I thought I broke my leg for sure. Yeah, Discord is more for like podcasting, huh? I don't know, man. I just been trying to. I've been trying to figure out, ways to make extra income when I'm off because I'm only working 3 days a week when I go back, and I'm just kind of getting tired of wrenching. I can do side stuff, but I want to do this. It's more fun. I like doing the filming, and I like to just meet people and teach people stuff. It's kind of fun. The internet, there's so much opportunity if you can figure out you got to find the happy sauce though, I know that YouTube, it's not about the views or the AdSense you get paid for advertisement because it's chump change. It really is. Unless you get $1 million, unless you get 1 million views out of a video, the real money is in affiliate marketing in the videos themselves. That's how you make money, But anyway, I love the junior motocross. We travel everywhere to race. Yeah, I bet you those were good times, huh? I bet you those are good memories as a kid. Stick with it, bro. You'll be surprised. I am, man. I'm going to play the long game. I'm gonna play the long game with YouTube. I think I got some stuff to offer because I can teach. I can teach automotive. At a pretty high level. And so I'm trying to feel out, what people are needing first, and then we'll go from there. But pretty soon I'll be working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I'll only have Thursday. I'm thinking I'm going to use Thursday and Friday. I've done this before, like years ago, man. I got into selling books, and what I was doing, instead of working extra hours, I said, you know what? I'm going to just do the book thing. And that's when Amazon just started. I said, I'm going to do the book thing and just treat it like a job. So when I get home, I'd be like, I've got to do this. And people try to interrupt me. I'm saying, hey, I'm at work. You can't stop me because I'm going to put in 4 hours a night, every night, 4 hours after work. And man, I tell you what, I did good. I made some money selling books. I used to just sell used books on eBay and then on other like book sites. It was easy money. Man, I'd sell books. Like I'd pick up books and some of them would sell for hundreds of dollars depending on what they were. and then you just wrap them up, ship them, you get paid. It was easy money, but you just run out. You have to be able to spend the money to go get more uh, inventory. So it takes some time, but it was fun doing that. I enjoyed it, and it was good. It was good money, for the time you spent doing it. Then I started doing eBay. I started picking up stuff, but eBay has gotten. It's not like it used to be. They charge so many fees now. You can't really make any money on it. I mean, you can, but it takes a long time to sell anything. I didn't have to switch gears up until it turned. I have a slide business where I talk people through. Oh, really? That's kind of cool, huh, Maggie? So you're like consulting for them? So you consult for like concrete jobs and then you charge them by the hour for your consultations? I thought about consulting for shops because I could save shops a lot of money, man. And I could teach them how to make money because I know the ins and outs of the automotive industry, how to treat customers, how to teach your service managers how to make money. Because there's a lot of things that you can make money at the counter. Yep, didn't have to switch gears. Well, yeah, man. Well, that's pretty cool. I'll go check out Discord. I'll check it out. And I know that like with YouTube, if you do podcasts and then you get an account set up with like Spotify, they will pump your podcast out on the Spotify. But you need to have some good content, But I was surprised the other day I was on here and I had a guy tell me, "Hey, can you shout out my son?" He goes, "It's his birthday today." And he goes, "He watches your lives all the time." And he was a young kid, like 14 years old, and he's watching our lives or listening to them or whatever. He said every time he gets a chance, he watches your lives. I was like, that's pretty cool. I like teaching young kids, man. I like to teach them, that you can learn how to have skills, that it's not just all about the cell phone. You can have a skill and learn how to do things and fix things. And it's all about the, once you learn the systems, it's all the same, man. I don't care if you're working on a boat, if you're working on a motorcycle, a car, a truck, an airplane, the concepts are all the same. So once you learn the theory and operation of how a ignition system works, it doesn't matter what you're working on. You're going to understand how to work on it, because I worked on everything from like a lawnmower all the way up to like a $600,000 grader, because the concepts are all the same. Hydraulics is hydraulics no matter what you're working on. And I've never been good at hydraulics, by the way. It's not my thing. But no matter what, electricity is electricity. I mean, if you understand electrical, you can work on anything. So for a young girl, I did want to charge the family. They dropped off a motorcycle for me. How cool was that, man? That's really cool. What kind of motorcycle did they drop off? Didn't want to charge. I've done that so much, Maggot. You have no idea how many times I fixed people's cars. And I could tell they couldn't afford it. And I'm just like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. It only took me a couple hours. Is this a white power channel? What do you mean by that, white power channel? I don't understand what you mean by that. No, we're not a white power channel. We're a bunch of white dudes. I don't even know what color all these guys are, to be honest with you. I'm white. I guess I'm Caucasian. America. Yeah, we're all, well, not really. We got a guy here from Australia. We get a guy here once in a while that's from India, some from the New Netherlands. So we're pretty broad ranged. Why? Why do you ask that question? White power. It was her grandfather's motorbike. That's awesome. This bike I just got, that one I was telling you about, that 83 first generation Evo, I bought it from the grandson. It was his grandfather's bike. Pinky cream color. Maggot, that's funny, man. You got to stick around here, dude. You're so funny. You crack me up, man. I'm like a pinky green color. They say I'm kind of olive. My mom claimed my dad was part Native American, but I don't know if I believe her. I think I'm a Heinz 57. I never met my dad. Well, I know him now, but I haven't met him. Can you say America? You can say America if you want. I don't freaking care. We were just talking about the Philippines a little while ago about we're all going to build a boat and go to the Philippines. You want to go? Zayzilla. I went to the Dominican Republic this year. That was pretty cool. First time I've been out of the country. It was pretty cool, man. I met this guy. I can jaw jack with just about anybody. So I met this guy. He was a cab driver. So I talked to him, and I go, what kind of deal you can give me, man? Just drive me all around. He goes, $40 for all day. I said, cool. So we did Dominican Republic in a cab, man. The guy took us everywhere we wanted to go. Just parked the car wherever we wanted. He'd carry our stuff in. I didn't ask him to do that, but he was trying to do that. I'm a living organic soil. Help people build a soil for hands-off feeding, giving people the basics for a great grow. Craft Organics, man. For some reason, what's your first name, man? For some reason, I'm thinking you're a guy that I may know who you are. What's your first name? Hey, I've been into organics forever, man. The whole concept of organics is like, what's really cool? Like if you look at Cuba taught people how to do organics, because if you go over to Cuba, they have these forget what they call them, but they got these big cement things that go for quarter miles, and they're filled with soil. And they started organics a long time ago because they couldn't get petroleum products from the United States. So they had to figure out how to grow their food. So Cuba, they're like the godfathers of organic farming. And new generations don't want to learn. They think everything means the same thing over and over. It's like they don't grasp. Yeah, everybody thinks a bottle fixes everything. Oh, you just get a bottle and you put a little of this on there, and then it causes this problem. Oh, well, we got to put this other stuff on there now, and it's all chemicals. It's being created in a factory. Nobody understands organics anymore. To do any self-research, you just want to question the people that know what they're doing. Maggot, I make a lot of soil, team. I'm not that good at it. Cardboard, coffee ground, scrap, sheep poo. Yeah, that works. That works, man. So my girl that I have now, I had to teach her. I was like, no, we don't put chemicals on stuff, man. So we got some bugs, and she was like, we need to get something. Like, no, not on this property. We don't do chemicals here, man. We grow enough so the bugs can have some. That's what I do. I just grow enough. If I lose a little bit to the bugs, I'm cool with that. I grow enough tomatoes. I can grow 50 tomato plants. I got more than enough to eat. Bugs get a few of them. I don't care. They're fine. But I'll use, sometimes I'll use like Dawn or a soapy, like a insecticidal soap if I get a real bad infestation. And then I've used neem oil before. And there's a couple of organic stuff I've used that works really good. Want to do any celery? I grow most of my food. I got olive trees and grapevines too. Oh, really? Where I live, olives used to be a big thing here, man. There's big olive orchards all over around here. And but the industry just they still harvest them, but you see a lot of orchards where the olives are just not being maintained. Tobacco and chili spray. Yeah, I've used capsaicin spray before. I got some really weird bugs this year I've never seen before. And they're nasty little, ugly little critters, man. They're like these big old black bugs like that. They get on the tomatoes, and they got like a spear that they stick in the tomato. I've never seen those bugs. I've lived here for, over 30 years, and I grew a garden almost every year. And we get some black flies and little things like that. But I've never seen those. First year I've seen them, I'm like, what the heck are those things? They're nasty looking. But oh, you do the brine? My uncle used to do that. He used to brine olives. He was known for it. People asked to get his olives from him every year. They're really bitter off the tree. A lot of people don't know that. But olives, man, when they're ripe, they're super bitter. When I was a kid, I went and picked olives one summer. Man, you talk about some hard work, dude. You get up on this ladder, you got this big tin thing like this around your neck, and you strip the olives like that in a bucket. And then you take the bucket and you go down the thing and you put it in this big old wooden bin, and you get paid by the bin. And man, I was working my butt off, man, as fast as I could go, you know. I was thinking, man, I'm gonna make some money today. I worked all day and I made like $14, man. Those guys that pick olives for a living, man, they work their butts off, dude. They work hard. Change water every day for 2 weeks. Put them in water, change water every day for 2 weeks. And then what do? Don't you put like lye in them or something like that? See, I'm learning stuff from you guys, man. I can get to the Philippines by this boat, Cashakia to Mississippi to the Gulf, and go around up until the Florida Keys and into the Philippines. You know, I was looking into buying a Grand Banks. I always wanted a Grand Banks. They're expensive. Put a jar after that. Oh, really? You just do that with the water and then just put them in a jar? So put them in a jar, change the water every day for 2 weeks, and then jar them up. You can eat them. That's pretty cool, Craft Organics. I looked into like getting a boat. I wanted to get like I forget what they call them, but they're like they have 2 diesel engines in them. And Robert, okay, you're not the guy I thought you were. There was a guy I used to watch on YouTube, and something organics. Yeah. Eggs go in lime water last 2 years. That's crazy. Just straight lime water. That's interesting, man. You dropped some good information here, man. Anyway, I was looking into a Grand Banks, and I talked to a guy. He goes, you know what? He goes, you should think about getting into sailing if you're thinking about traveling in a boat. Because I was thinking, you know what? At the time, my wife was alive, and we were thinking about what to do. And I was like, I'd love to get a boat and just like, go from port to port. Because she used to do like jewelry and stuff. And I was like, I could figure out something that we can just go to port and try to sell and make enough money to go to the next port. And we had my retirement. So I was like, that'd be fun, But I talked to a guy, he goes, man, sailing ships are the way to go. He goes, because you don't have to pay for fuel. And I never thought about that. I was like, yeah, I didn't think about that. I mean, sometimes you have to use fuel if you lose the wind or certain situations. But he goes, you can travel all over the world and just live on your boat, cheap. And I met him at a art thing, and he said him and his wife lived on a boat for like 15 years. And he was old. He was like, not old, but he was like pushing 75. And he said, yeah, we just recently got off the boat. He goes, the best days of my life, man. He goes, we went all over the world. He goes, we'd cruise in, we'd sail into these ports. We'd stay there a month. And then we would sell items that we made while we were out at sea. And then we'd go to the next port. He said, they had a great life. Oh, permaculture advocate. Oh, really? Yeah, there's a guy here in town who does permaculture. You know what I started doing? I started doing raised beds at my place, all organics. But I started using landscape fabric. And I know it's not organic, but man, what a game changer that is, the landscape fabric for doing like small lot farming. Because I started getting into small lot farming because I love the garden like on a big scale. Like last season, I grew 65 tomato plants, and I put them all on drip. So I put landscape fabric, tomato in the middle, and then we put them on drip. And man, if you talk about no work farming, man, it's a way to go. You don't have to be out there picking weeds and grass and all that. And you can stay pretty organic, other than I don't like the fabric is, it's plastic. So it's not, but it doesn't stay in the ground. When it gets deteriorated, we pull it up and dispose of it, but I know it's not organic. So tomatoes, slick, Clutch and Stick. Hey, Clutch and Stick, welcome to the live, man. I just seen you. When you see the Southern Cross for the first time, I use diatomaceous earth. It's a lava rock powder. Yeah, I used that this year. Diatomaceous for the bugs. It didn't work on everything though. Certain bugs don't care. They walk right through it. They don't care. I don't know if I was putting it on wrong or what, but I put diatomaceous around, and we still had some issues, but not bad. Yeah, that's a good way to do that, Maggot. As long as you're not using like really hard chemicals in your washing machine. I've been saying that for years. I don't know why people don't do that. We're taking water and putting it in the sewer system that we could be watering our yards with. Nobody's going to eat the grass in the front yard. Why not put the washing machine water in the front yard and water the grass? It's stupid the way we do things. Southern Cross, Crosby, Stills and Nash song about a selling. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Clutch and Stick. Yeah, I know that song. I catch drinking water. You must be in the southern hemisphere. I'm in the U.S. in California. California, buddy. It's nice here, but gosh, it costs so much to live here now. And I keep looking at like, hey, I'm 61. Life expectancy for males anymore is like 78. Do the math, You ain't got much time to be screwing around. You got to get out and do stuff while you still can. Catch drinking water. Really, Maggot? You catch your drinking water in like a catchment system? Is that pretty common there? Probably so. I guess you kind of are you in a desert area of where you're at? Or are you, because weren't you telling me there's all kinds of areas there? It's not just a big desert. Because I always thought of Australia as like a big desert. My buddy's mom used to go there, and they used to bring back opals. They had some kind of opal or mine or something there. I worked at a manufacturing job for 5 years. Had to go elsewhere because I was able to outperform 3 with most of them, and was being paid the same and was not recognized. That's really common, dude. Crafts, organics. What did you say your first name was? You told me. What was it? Did you say Robert? Okay, Robert. I can remember that. That's my boss's name. That'll be easy to remember. I'll try not to be mean to you. I'm the same way, dude. I'm 61 years old and I work circles around these young guys. And some people they don't come to work. They just come to work to hang out and get a paycheck. And man, I tell you, with the HR stuff and all that crap, you can't. It's like crazy. My girl, she deals with that on her job. Works her butt off, and people around her are not doing their job. Nobody cares. You're down southwest Australia. It's green. That's cool. I'm glad you told me about that, because before I talked to you, I was thinking, man, Australia is very arid, like a big desert. You need to catch some of those spiny-tailed lizards for me. Send them to me. Those things, man, I'd love to catch some spiny-tailed. I don't even know what they call them anymore. I used to have them. They're called ackies. They call them ackies here. They got red ones and yellow ones. They're like a spiny-tailed monitor. They're a monitor. You eat kangaroo? What's that taste like? You should look up Coober Pedy. It's an opal town. They all live underground. Thorny devils. Yeah, you said that earlier, huh? They got like a thorny tail on them. They're a monitor. They're a dwarf monitor. They're called spiny-tailed monitor. They're pretty cool. They don't get very big. I mean, they might in the wild there, but a big monitor, because I used to really be into reptiles. A big monitor can be 6 feet long, a big one, and dangerous. But those Ackie monitors, they only get like 20 inches, 24 inches. They're very popular here in the pet trade. People pay big bucks for them. I was trying to breed them. They're hard to breed because you have to get like 3 babies and grow them up as babies, or they won't breed. They'll fight and kill each other. So you got to get a clutch and when they're small, you don't know if they're male or female. So you have to buy, a group of them. So you have a better chance of getting a female out of the group. Because sometimes if you buy 2, you might get 2 males. And so you have to buy a minimum of 3 and then raise them up together. And, then you can breed them. But man, they get $600 an egg for those things. And they double clutch. I always thought, man, what a money making deal that is for the reptile trade. I try to talk my grandson into raising them. I said, hey, if you want to make some money, raise Ackies. You can't even find them here. People want to buy them, man. Like they'll pay you $600 like that. You got to get on a waiting list to get them. Anyway. Yeah, it does. It does keep a tidy, weed-free garden. That's what what I do with this works out good for me. This is what I do. So I lay my landscape where I'm going to put tomatoes, right? And then what I'll do, I'll fold the landscape into my walk rows. And then I'll put like radishes and lettuce and all that in early. So I can use that row so I can get a harvest of radish and lettuce. And then I'll harvest that out. And then I'll put the tomatoes in, and then I pull the landscape over, and then the landscape stays there until harvest time. So I can double plant those rows, and I can get a lot of product out of those rows. So it works good. Even lettuce does really good in that landscape too. You can plant it really dense, and if a guy was ever going to want to make money doing small lot farming, man, greens are the way to go. They get $10 a pound for greens here. And I thought about that one day, and I told my wife, I said, you realize how much money that is? That's like buying steak. People are paying $10 a pound for lettuce greens, for lettuce mix, $10 a pound. My son works kilometers under the ground 20 hours a day, 7 days. Really? What does he do under the ground? He's mining? They used to do a lot of mining here. Not like they do in the South. There's some places where they go deep, man, down in these big mines. Under the ground 12 hours and 7 days a week. There's different grades of it, but yeah, it cuts insects up. Yeah, the diatomaceous, I use it because I think it's effective. Bee watering stations. Man, I did good with the bees this year. So what I put in these things are called lipsticks plants. They grow these little tiny red flowers on them. I've never seen so many bumblebees, man. And I do lavender, and I do lipsticks. And man, they bring in the bees. The lipsticks, I don't think there's a better plant for bringing in bumblebees. Man, they're just like, we get like 50 big old huge bumblebees every night just flying around. Great pollinators. Gold mine. You know what? I'm trying to think. There was a mine here that I went and looked at, and they had a replica of the mine showing how many shafts they had and how far they went down. And it was a silver mine. It's called the Empire State Mine in California. Look that up. They had a crazy mine there where they went down really deep, man. Yeah, I guess, I seen a thing about how they mine there in Australia where they take a metal detector. And I don't know if it's true, but I watched it. I was like, man, it's pretty cool how they do it because they get a lot of surface nuggets and they take a metal detector. And then when it goes off, they make a pile of dirt and then they split it. And then they detect this one. They figure out which pile it's in and they just keep making the pile smaller and smaller. And they pull up these nuggets, man, like big old freaking nuggets, like, $500 nuggets right off the surface of the ground. There's a lot of gold there, isn't there, Maggot? 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Well, I go by Bobby. Your leaf. Oh, I got a detector. It takes it. I take it everywhere. Are you taking off Craft Organics, Robert? I got it. Maggie, you ever find some good sized stuff with the detector? This looks like fun, man. I do. I've done. They have what they call, placer mining here in California, where you do it with a pan. That's fun, but man, it's hard on your back, dude. I just can't hardly do it anymore because I can't bend over with that pan for hours at a time. The next day, I can't hardly walk. I got a detector, take it everywhere. That's pretty cool. You ever found any good sized nuggets, Maggot? I'll tell you a funny story about mine. My wife's uncle, both their uncles used to placer mine with pans, and they knew this area like the back of their hand. They'd go out in the middle on these creeks, and they'd find big old nuggets and stuff. And the one uncle found out where the other uncle was panning, and he knew where his hole was. So what he did, he went home and took a torch, and he melted a bunch of brass into a glass of water. And so when you melt brass and it drops into the water, it makes these nice little nugget looking things. It costs $50 a year for a lease. Really, that's pretty good though. Prospecting, yeah. And so the one uncle, man, he made like a pound of brass nuggets, and he went up there and he dumped it in the other uncle's hole. So he panned all these out, man. He had a big old jar of nuggets, and he went to the bar and he was telling everybody, man, I hit the gold mine. Look at this, And he thought he had panned out all them gold nuggets, and then they almost fought over that. The one my uncle told the other uncle, he goes, I put those in there. He goes, what? He goes, yeah, it's just brass. Found the stones of gold. All my daughter's jewelry, I found that stones and gold. That is freaking awesome, man. I do jewelry. I'll have to do some jewelry for you guys some night. So I do silver. I do silver jewelry. I make rings and necklaces and cabochons and that kind of stuff. It's kind of a hobby of mine. I don't get to do it very often. I only get to do it when I ain't got nothing better to do. And lately, I haven't had any time to do it. But I like to make rings, big, bulky rings. And I made some really nice turquoise stuff before. But it's fun. I enjoy it. The silver prices are so high, I can't afford to do any jewelry right now. Silver, they said silver is the highest it's been for 4 decades right now. Highest it's been in 40 years right now. What kind of stones are you finding? Because I know you guys have a lot of agates, not agates, but opals out there. It's pretty common. But a lot of gold. What are you talking about, Crafts Organics? Do they have the disease-infected mouse? What are you talking about? Yeah, really? Yeah, it looks like a good time, man. Be out there doing that stuff. It looks, well, it's just what you watch on television, Sometimes you don't really know what's true. You're just trying to see between the lines. To put straw around it, you could put organics in the straw. It will feed it. Yeah, that's a good idea. Use straw instead of the plastic, instead of the fabric. The fabric is just makes it so simple for me. I don't have to waste a lot of time out there. Hey guys, don't forget these, man. If you're looking for some lights, check them out. They're a good deal. $35. That's a bargain. Opal, black opal, rubies. Really? I wouldn't even know what I was looking at. I'd be panning them, throwing them out of the bucket because I wouldn't even know what they are. Like, look at those black stones. What are those? I'm looking for gold. Sapphire, opal, black opal, rubies. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There's a state. Can't remember where it was. They call it the gem state. And they say they have some of the most precious stones of all states in the United States. 2 big mining plants and Baldwin power plant. I know you've told me before, Robert, where are you from? I know you said it, man. I have the worst memory anymore. Baldwin Power Plant. Oh, really? 30 miles from you, really? I was looking at a piece of property I was really thinking about buying for my wife passed, and I found out they were gonna do a freaking copper mining right there. And I said, nope, I'm done. I don't want a piece of property with 50 trucks running down the road every day. And copper mining is really like nasty chemical wise. They do some nasty stuff when they're doing copper mining. 30 miles from your house. You should go hang out when nobody's looking and go cruise through the parking lot with your little metal detector. Say, I'm looking for my keys. I lost my key. What do you think? As my property just got rezoned light industrial. Really? Get you a frickin' backhoe, start digging holes. I looked at a piece of property. There's a place right by my house. We have gold police here. I'll bet they do. Yeah, I bet. I looked at it. I live right close to the Feather River. There's a place in California called the Feather River Canyon. It runs from like Reno down to the Central Valley, kind of a really beautiful canyon up that way. But I looked at a piece of property up there. I should have bought it, man, because it was a good deal. It was 50 acres, 40 acres on one side and 10 on the other. But what it was a big landing that years ago PG&E come in and they poured all this rock and made it real nice and flat. And right where it was at, there was really good rock access. And I thought, you know what? I could buy that property and get me a rock crusher, and I could make some money on that property. All I need was a loader and a crusher, and man, there was all the rock you could ever crush there. And right after that, they did a highway widening project, and they were hauling the rock all the way from like 40 miles away. And I was thinking, man, if I would have done that, I could have sold all that rock to those people and made a ton. God bless you. Okay, sorry about that, Bobby. I can remember that too because my buddy Robert at work, I call him Bobo. Hey, Bobo. Bobby, not Robert. No problem, man. Call you Bob. We can call you Bobby. That's my nephew's name anyway. I have a nephew named Bobby. Gosh, that's a good deal, Maggot. Acre with 2 houses for $90,000. What a deal. My daughter, she left California and she went to Tennessee, and she sold her house here in California and she only owned her house for like 6 years, maybe. She made enough money on the house. She went out to Tennessee and bought another pretty nice house on 2 acres. And she only owes like, I think 50 on it now. So she's going to have her house paid off before she's 50, which is cool. She could have paid the whole thing off. She would have bought a little lesser of a house. But you can't hardly do that out there now. All the prices, all the California money has went to Tennessee and Idaho and different places. And now it's just driven up. When COVID happened, everybody was leaving the state, and they're taking all their big money from California to all these other states, and they drove up all the prices. And the people in Tennessee, man, they hate the people in California now because the people that's lived there forever, their kids can't afford to buy a house because, the people came from California and they don't make a lot of money there. So their wages are really low. So now it's made it almost impossible for the people that's lived there their whole lives to buy a house because it's driven up all the prices. Well, boys and girls, I'm gonna have to call it a day. I think I got some stuff I need to get done. I'm gonna try to shoot a video about tools today, and then later on, I think I'm gonna do a live and tear down that 212. Maybe we'll see if we get some traction in the live feed. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me this morning. Appreciate all you guys coming and hanging out. Take care, man. Maybe I'll see you later tonight. I'm gonna do a live. Maybe if I have time tonight, I'm gonna bring that 212 up here on the bench and get a camera going and just tear it all down. Be kind of fun. Okay, crafts, the monitors with the disease infected mouse. All right, man. Later, dudes. See you next time. Take care.